Let's install Windows 7 on your Snap-on VERUS. The VERUS I'm using is the wireless version. The part number is EEMS325. The first thing you need to do, and it is the most important step, is to clone your original hard drive. So let's take the original hard drive out and clone it and then put it back in. Let's remove your VERUS's hard drive. This is the original hard drive removal. First thing you're going to need is a small Phillips head screwdriver. And basically what you do is you remove the side covers. Remove the battery. And you'll have a screw here, 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 and also you'll have one right in here. Those are all the ones in the back. Oh, also right here. After you remove all of those, flip it over, and you'll need to remove this one and this one. Don't remove this one, this one, this one, and this one. I've already got mine removed, so turn it back over on its face, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to remove the bottom side first. Pick it up from the back, pull it up just slightly, and you'll see or feel the battery case underneath of there. Make sure the battery case goes down while you're lifting up. Leave the front side as close as to the table as possible, because there's a wire that hooks to a fan right here. Alright, here is your original hard drive, which this VERUS here actually has Windows 10 onto it. Anyway, just take your original hard drive out. It's got a couple of little rubbery bumpers to keep it from vibrating, and there you have it. Alright, here is your cloned solid state drive, and this drive will contain your original Windows XP operating system. So basically it's just to reinstall back into the VERUS. Put your screws back in. Put your battery. Then go ahead and put your handle grips back on it. Which I'm not going to put the screws back in because I'm constantly taking this thing out. Right, then boot it up. So now you've got your cloned hard drive installed in your VERUS. You're going to need three things to install Windows 7. And the first thing is going to be an external keyboard, an external mouse, and a bootable version of Windows 7 on a USB drive. Now that you've got a cloned hard drive back in your VERUS and booted up, we need to get some files off of the C drive and move them to the D drive. These are very important files that will get the Diagnostic Suite software to boot up and not have a license error. So anyway, follow along with me and let's do that right now. Go to My Computer, go to Tools, go to Folder Options, click the View tab, and then enable Show Hidden Files and Folders, and then click Apply, then OK. Then go to the C drive, find the drivers folder, right click the drivers folder, and then click Copy. Then go back up to your D drive, and then right click and paste the drivers folder on your D drive. After that, we've got to get the license off the C drive. So go to your C drive, go to Documents and Settings, go to All Users, go to Application Data, go to M1SK, go to ShopStream XT, and in this folder you'll find your license that we need to copy to your D drive. So right click the file, click Copy, and it's easy to just exit out of this and then go back to My Computer, D drive, right click and paste the license file on your D drive. We're going to need both of these folders, or actually the drivers folder and the license, when we get Diagnostic Suite installed. Let's install Windows 7. Go ahead and hook up your external USB keyboard, and also hook up your bootable USB drive with Windows 7 onto it. Then, if there's a window come up here, just go ahead and cancel out of that and reboot your VERUS. Once it reboots, have your hand on the keyboard on any key. You'll see a message come up on the upper left hand corner that says boot from press any key to boot. Just after the boot sequence right here, you'll see it. It should be right up here. Alright, press any key right now. Windows 7 will now install. During the installation, Windows will ask you a few questions about the time, the date, username, password if you want to put that in. When that happens, you'll have to disconnect your keyboard and use your mouse, but you can take and disconnect the keyboard or mouse anytime during this process. Also, the touchscreen drivers will not work. As you can see, they are way off calibration. Alright, right now I'm going to hook up my external mouse, which is going to make this a lot easier to install since the touchscreen driver is not lined up. Alright, when you get to this screen, click Next, and then click Install Now. Go ahead and accept the license terms and then click Next. Here we're going to do a custom advanced install, not an upgrade. So click on Custom Advanced. On Disk Partition 1, Disk 0, Partition 1, highlight that. That's going to be your Windows XP partition. Do not click on this one, or this one. Make sure this one is highlighted. Click Drive Options. Click Format. And we want to remove all the files that's on the Disk 0 Partition 1. We want a clean copy of Windows 7. So click OK, and then Windows is now formatting this drive. Alright, make sure this right here is still highlighted blue, and then click Next. And now Windows will install the files needed to install Windows 7. This will take some time, so I'm going to pause the video until it gets to be around 95 or 97%. When this install updates, it's going to take a while to do this too, so just sit back and get a drink or something like that. This is real time. I'm not pausing the video right now at all. Do not press any key on the keyboard if you still have it hooked up. Do not press any keys. At this time, you can remove the Windows 7 USB installation stick, and you can plug your keyboard and your mouse in so you can continue on with setting it up. Username, I just put Verus Wireless. And as a computer name, I just put Verus down. Then click Next. If you want to put a password in, you could go ahead and do that right now, but I don't put a password in. Click Next. Here, you need to put your product key in. After you put your product key in, click Next. Go ahead and set your time and the year. And then click Next. And there's Windows 7 installed on your Verus. Once you have Windows 7 installed, I normally don't worry about getting the touch screen working right now. I just want to worry about putting the Diagnostic Suite up there and get it working. So from here on out, I'm going to continue using my USB external mouse and keyboard. Let's do some things to make it a little bit easier and quicker to install Diagnostic Suite. What I like to do is I like to put some shortcuts on the desktop. I generally move the recycle bin down to the bottom. So go to the Start menu, go to Computer and right-click Computer, and then click Show on Desktop. Also, right-click Control Panel and do the same thing, Show on Desktop. Once those are shown on desktop, go to your control panel, and I usually like to go to small icons so I can see everything. On Device Manager, right click and then click Create Shortcut, and that will put a shortcut on your desktop also, because we're going to be using both of these while we install Diagnostic Suite. The first thing I like to do is install the Snap-on scope driver. So let's go to the Device Manager, and here you see Easy Scope listed under Other Devices. So right click Easy Scope and then click Update Driver Software. You want to browse my computer for driver software. Then you want to hit Browse, and then you want to go to Computer to the pull down list, and then you want to go to the D drive, and then you want to look in the folder drivers that you copied over there earlier, and then click on Scope Driver. Just highlight it and then click OK, and then click Next. Click Install this driver anyway, and Windows will install the scope driver. And this driver will now be listed under Universal Serial Bus Controllers. Click Close, and it's listed under Universal Serial Bus Controllers. Then click out of that. Now let's enable hidden files and folders, just like we done in Windows XP. So go to My Computer, go to the left, click Organize, come down to Folder and Search options, click the View tab, and then click Show Hidden Files, Folders, and Drives, and then click Apply, and then click OK. You can exit out of this right now. Now let's install Diagnostic Suite. Go to My Computer, go to your D drive. You should see Snap-on Software. Scroll down to Diagnostic Suite Installer and double click that, and then click Yes. You can exit out of this folder here. when Diagnostic Suite finishes installing, there's going to be errors at the end, and one of the errors is going to be for the buttons over here on this side, the external buttons for the brightness, the keyboard, and the S button. These buttons do not work under Windows 7, so there's going to be an error for that. Also, there's probably going to be an error for installing Microsoft .NET Framework 4.0, because Diagnostic Suite has to have that also installed for this to work. And the reason why I have not copied the license file yet to the C drive is because Diagnostic Suite has to install first and create a folder to where we are going to copy the file to. So when Diagnostic Suite finishes installing, it's going to have a few errors at first, but we're going to correct those. Okay, there's the error that I was talking about for the snap-on buttons over here on this side. So go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, I am going to need to install Microsoft .NET Framework 4.0. If you had the same .NET Framework error that I had, go to My Computer, go to your D drive, go to Snap-on Software, scroll down until you see .NET FX40 full times 86, and double click that. And then click yes, and you can exit out of that folder there and let this install. I have read and accept the license, and it looks like I'm going to have to connect to the internet to do this. Maybe not. Alright, so it does not look like I had to connect to the internet. which is good because I didn't want to install my network driver just yet. Alright, go ahead and click Finish. And click Restart Later, because right now I want to copy the license from the D drive to the folder on the C drive, so that if and when Diagnostic Suite starts up after a restart, hopefully it'll go ahead and load right up into it. So go to My Computer, go to D drive, right click your license file, that's the file that you copied when Windows XP was installed. Go back to Computer, double click Local Disk C, go to Program Data, go to M1SK, go to Shop Stream XT, and then right click and paste your license file in that folder right there, and then exit out. Now let's restart Windows 7, and see if everything goes well. Diagnostic Suite should try to start up, and hopefully it won't have any errors, but sometimes it will occasionally have a hardware not initialized, and that's because the scope driver has become uninstalled while Diagnostic Suite was installing. I don't know the reason why it does that, but sometimes you have to reinstall the scope driver. And we don't need to install it. And it looks like Diagnostic Suite is going to load up. And that, my friends, is how you install Windows 7 and get Diagnostic Suite to boot up. let's play around in Diagnostic Suite now that it's installed. Alright, that should be enough playing around. So next thing to do is to start installing the wireless driver, the touchscreen driver, the audio driver, and things like that. Sometimes Snap-on Suite will have an error after you boot it up the first time. So let's look at what this error is. It says here the application has detected that the hardware is not fully initialized. What this means is the scope driver has become uninstalled for some reason. This usually happens on the first reboot of your VERUS. So let's go back in and reinstall the scope driver. So let's go to Device Manager, and one of these is the scope driver. It's not listed down in here. So let's right click the second one and then click Update Driver, and then hit Browse My Computer, and it should already be listed in here again. So hit Next. Alright, now we know that that first one that we tried to install the driver for is not actually the scope driver. Is not the scope hardware that we're trying to install. So let's close out that. Right click the first unknown device, click Update Driver, browse My Computer. Scope driver should already be listed, and then click Next. Click Install this driver anyway. And again, Snap-on Scope should be listed down here under Universal Serial Bus Controllers. Again, this happens usually after the first time you reboot your VERUS. Then click Close. Alright, it's listed now. So now, double click ShopStream and open up Diagnostic Suite. Alright, now that it booted up again, let's exit that out, and then let's reboot the VERUS. Click Restart. And this is real time. I'm not going to cut the video or anything, and it should go ahead and boot up in Diagnostic Suite with no problem this time. Again, after the first or second reboot, after you finish installing Windows 7 and Diagnostic Suite, you may have to reinstall the scope driver. It doesn't randomly uninstall anytime after that whatsoever. So after it gets through these couple of times rebooting, you should be fine from now on. Once you have Windows 7 installed, I normally don't worry about getting the touch screen working right now. I just want to worry about putting the Diagnostic Suite up there and get it working. So from here on out, I'm going to continue using my USB external mouse and keyboard. There is a setting on Windows 7 called Desktop Composition, and Diagnostic Suite has a little glitch that is not compatible with Windows 7 Desktop Composition. And the way to get rid of that, right click on the shortcut to open Diagnostic Suite, click Properties, click the Compatibility tab, and then click Disable Desktop Composition, and then click Apply, and then OK. And now every time Diagnostic Suite boots up, it'll automatically disable desktop composition, and it won't have that error anymore. Actually, it's not an error, it's more of it. The buttons, like the back button up here when Diagnostic Suite opens, and the home button and the desktop and the buttons down here at the bottom, I'll show you that when this opens up all the way. But sometimes the buttons themselves will be dark and you can't see it too well. But anyway, as long as you have desktop composition disabled, you won't have a problem. Now that you have Diagnostic Suite installed on Windows 7 and it opens up and it works fine, let's start getting the VERUS itself working better. And here's a page that I put together that gives you some links to download touchscreen drivers, wireless network driver, the multimedia audio driver, and also a PDF viewer. And I like the PDF Exchange viewer myself instead of Adobe. It doesn't seem to use as much memory as Adobe does. But anyway, take a look at these links that I have and download all of these drivers and put them on your D drive. And after you've done that, we'll take and install these drivers on the VERUS. I'll have this list in the description below for you to just copy and paste in your browser and download it. Now that you've got the drivers downloaded, let's first install the touchscreen driver. So go to your place where you downloaded your drivers, and my folder is called VERUS Install Windows 7 or Windows 10. And let's install the touchscreen driver for Windows 7. So go ahead and hit Setup. Exit out of that screen there. Click Next. I've got to have administrator access. So let me go back. Cancel that. Back to the D drive. Go back to touchscreen. Windows 7. Right click Setup. Run as administrator. Click Yes. Close out that window. And let's install this. Accept the terms. Hit Next. The type of driver is a 12-bit, 10-bit controller. And it is a USB. So you want 12 or 10-bit and USB checked. Then click Next. And I usually uncheck this because I don't want the tray icon to start automatically, because that just slows the boot process down for booting it up. Click Finish. Then click OK. And I think it's gonna want to reboot Windows, but I'm not sure. Let's let it continue on and see. And as you can tell, it's not calibrated. Alright, let's calibrate it. Go to the Start menu, find Microchip T-Shark control panel, and click on Calibration. Pull this down all the way to 28. That's going to give you the best calibration possible. And then move this slider all the way over to the left. And then once we click the Begin Calibration, there's going to be little marks, little dots on the screen that you're going to have to use your pen to touch. And there's going to be 28 of them, so it's going to take about a minute or so to do this. So click Begin Calibration and then touch your screen and hold it there right on the dot. Don't rest your hand on the screen. Click Accept. Now your screen should be calibrated. Now click Settings and click Enable Right Click. Move this slider here for approximately 3/4 over and move the right click delay slider down to where it's on the third mark, and then click Apply. And here's your test pad to show that it works. And you could do it out here too. Press, hold, and right click. Then click OK. Don't touch the screen. And now your touch screen is calibrated. Now let's install the audio driver so we can hear sound. So go to your folder where you downloaded the drivers. And click the setup. Open it up and install the audio driver. You can click out of this. I'm going to use the external mouse. Next. Click install this driver anyway. And once it installs, you should see this icon with the red X. The red X should go away. We're probably going to have to reboot the VERUS to finish installing. And it did go away, the red X, and we do need to reboot the computer. So hit finish and have your VERUS restart. And rebooting the VERUS will make sure that Diagnostic Suite continues to start up okay. And I'll tell you how to get rid of this right here a little later on about this color scheme. Go ahead and turn the volume up. And as you can hear, the sound is working now. Alright, exit out of Diagnostic Suite. Now let's install a PDF file viewer. And it's your option to download whatever viewer you want. Most people like the PDF viewer from Adobe, but I like PDF Exchange viewer. And this file over here on the desktop, safety information, is a file that is a PDF file. Unfortunately right now there's no viewer onto it, so you can't actually open it. See, it can't open the file. Alright, so I'm going to install PDF Viewer. So I'm going to go back to where I downloaded the software, and I'm going to install it. And what I usually do is I usually get rid of some of this stuff that I don't need, and I'm going to uncheck the help file, the languages. I'm going to keep the add-in for Internet Explorer because that's what browser I'm going to be using. I don't plan on installing Firefox or Chrome, but if you want to, keep that, then keep it. I don't want any extensions. I don't want a tracker updater, and I don't want OCR. So it only is going to install 3.4 megabytes of space, which really isn't a whole lot. And I don't want to create a start menu folder because that just, again, it clogs up the start menu. And I don't want a desktop shortcut. I do want to display it in browser, and I do want to set the PDF Exchange Viewer as the default. And the free version works just fine. So click the free version and then click next and then install. And once it installs, you'll see this over here is going to change to the PDF Viewer icon. I don't want to launch it and finish it. So now I can view PDF files. The last thing I always like to do is install the wireless network driver. And the reason why I like to install it last is because when you do get the VERUS on the internet, it's going to want to start updating through Windows updates. And of course, that just slows the process of installing other items on the VERUS. It just slows down the process because the processor in these older scan tools are not that powerful. So anyway, I am going to have to upgrade or update my Windows system because Windows 7 that I installed on this VERUS does not have Service Pack 1 into it, and therefore it comes with Internet Explorer 8. And Diagnostic Suite needs Internet Explorer 11 to be fully functional 100%. And I'll show you why. I've got a screenshot of what happens when you have Internet Explorer 8 and not Internet Explorer 11. Alright. When you use Diagnostic Suite with Internet Explorer 8 and you go to the SureTrack FixIt results, it tries to download a graph up here, and it needs Internet Explorer 11 to display this graph correctly. And if you don't have it, it gives you a script error. And of course, that's never fun, having errors like that. So after I update to Internet Explorer 11, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to have the graph and everything function just perfect. So right now, let's install the wireless driver. So go to your downloads where you downloaded the wireless driver, and let's install the wireless network driver. And down here you're going to see this the icon, turn to a wireless signal. There it is, right there. Alright, so the installation is complete. And now I should be able to connect to my network. Of course, I'm going to have to put a network key in there first. But right now, I'm still not ready to connect to the internet. Now that we've got everything installed on the VERUS, we've got the touch screen, we've got the sound, we've got the wireless network driver, we've got the performance of Windows sped up so that everything works really good and quick. I want to go ahead and connect to the internet and start doing some Windows updates. So put your password in, your network password, and click OK. And I want to be on a home network, since I have the VERUS at my house right now doing this video. And you can share all of this if you want to, but I generally don't share music, videos, pictures, but I do want to share printers. Then click next, and of course I've got to put a password in for connecting to my home network. And I'm going to pause the video so you guys won't see it. And now that I've got the password in, I'm going to connect to my home network. This may take a little while to connect. And I have joined the network. So this concludes the video of how to install Windows 7 and get Diagnostic Suite to work on your Snap-on VERUS. Like I said at the beginning of the video, my VERUS is the EEMS 325 wireless version. It is an old VERUS. It was put out in 2011, and Windows XP is not being supported anymore, and this is a great way to revive an older VERUS to Windows XP, to Windows 7, and get you back up and running with a newer operating system. Like and subscribe if you like this video.